Hi everybody, it's the Gregarious Giggler here, and today I'm coming to you to talk about men, I guess.
Not sure if you're a boy or a girl. Rebel, rebel, put on your dress. Rebel, rebel, your face is a mess. Rebel, rebel.
First things first, I want to show you a video of someone.
I just showered in Cherry Aid hippie scrub. Probably the most unusual shower I've ever had in my life. I'm in the gown now though, so it's all feeling very real. I'm trying not to get freaked out. Shut up. I'm going in for 10ish. I'm second on the list. I will update you when I'm waking up.
Now, this person is honestly a great looking guy. I would honestly be interested in dating him if he were interested in dating me. Problem is, he's a woman.
Got out of surgery how long ago? The surgery went well. There was a slight issue with a hematoma afterwards that happened last night, and it was a bit touch and go today as to whether I'd need to go and have another operation to get rid of it. But I didn't, because one of the surgeons came through and removed some stitches and then squeezed out the blood clot. Probably one of the most painful things I've ever experienced, but I felt a lot more comfortable since that happened. It's Tuesday. I'm still here, and I'm going to be here till tomorrow. So, it is... My phone's falling. Hold on. It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday. I didn't film anything else yesterday, because yesterday went a bit bad. After the squeezing, I did feel better, and then I went to go to the toilet, and suddenly the right side just started swelling up again really bad. It was incredibly painful, so I had a lot of morphine and they had to put a cannula on again because I wouldn't stop bleeding. Blood was spurting out. It was not pretty. So what that meant is I had to go back in for surgery to close up what was going on and have a look and see why there were being so many issues.
Yeah, this should be a deterrent for most people wanting to have this surgery. Why would you do this? No, but really, he is a good-looking guy. Except for the whole thing about him not actually being a guy. And that she is actually a woman with a new penis. Now, I'm not trying to suggest that transgender people are deceitful or that they go out of their way to lie to people whom they're interested in dating. But I do think it's a fairly dangerous and deceptive road to go down when you first meet the person. It's really no surprise that some people might react badly when they find out that the person who they thought was one sex is really another. I would personally be very put out if on one of my many dates last year that I went on had said to me in the middle of a date, or God forbid in the middle of kissing them, "Just so you know, I have a vagina." I would have been horrified. And no, it's not because I'm homophobic. It's because I like men. And by the way, for those of you who think I and others who think like me are all homophobes and transphobes, what gives you the right to tell us what we should and shouldn't be attracted to? What gives you the right to question our faith and beliefs in life? The Bible teaches me that I should not be with another woman. And now I've inadvertently broken that law. If I'm out on a date with another woman or kiss another woman, I would feel very guilty and not to mention grossed out by it in general. I might add that I felt the same way when I was duped into going out on a date with a married man. I felt bamboozled, guilty, icky being on a date with him, with someone who had a wife. And he sprung the news on me at dinner, not beforehand. But let's get back to the subject at hand. Show of hands, how many of you out there know of Teena Brandon? No? Crickets? Perhaps you know her by her alias, which was Brandon Teena. Yes, Hilary Swank portrayed her in the film Boys Don't Cry.
What were you like before all this?
Wow. So you're a boy. Now what?
You want the truth, don't you? I want to know. Like a long time ago.
Got your mother in a whirl, 'cause she's not sure if you're a boy or a girl.
Why don't you leave the lady alone? I don't want any trouble here.
You gotta be kidding me. You can't just keep running forever.
Nothing can go wrong if we're together.
What do you see in him?
You wouldn't even believe it.
Something's totally weird.
Rebel, rebel.
What's going on?
I'm just looking out for you.
Rebel, rebel.
We can just beam ourselves out there.
You've got her brainwashed.
So sun and dress.
Had a dream about you last night.
Your face is a mess.
Are you or are you not?
How could they know? Ooh, how can they know?
So what are you gonna tell him? Gonna tell him what we know is true.
And subsequently won the award for Best Actress in 1999 for her portrayal of Teena Brand.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I want to thank Brandon Teena for being such an inspiration to us all. His legacy lives on through our movie to remind us to always be ourselves, to follow our hearts, to not conform. I pray for the day when we not only accept our differences, but we actually celebrate our diversity. Thank you very much.
Now, before I get into my commentary about this story, I want to say that the film is excellent, the acting is outstanding, and Swank absolutely deserved that award. I would also like to say that what happened to Teena Brandon in real life was terribly tragic in so many more ways than one. She was first of all tragically delusional and in denial about being a woman, and then she was raped, beaten, and finally murdered by a couple of morons who were intolerant bigots. But let's examine Teena's behavior prior to all of the terrible things that happened to her. You know, all the things she did wrong leading up to her death. Aside from the fact that she was already a petty criminal and had been arrested several times before even moving to the town that God forgot about in rural Nebraska, she lied to everyone she came into contact with there about her gender, including her love interest, who was female. How you can take a girl to bed and dupe her into thinking that you are actually a biological male is beyond me, but I wasn't there. Thank God. So, she lies to everyone she meets, including some real upstanding young men who are known to have a temper. What do you think is gonna happen? I'm not excusing their behavior, but it's not nice to lie and to be deceitful. Stuff like that can happen. Then we have Einar Wegener, or for what Hollywood and Wikipedia would have us know him as, Lili Elbe. I love what Wikipedia has to say. Just listen. Gerda Wegener met fellow artist Lili Elbe, then known as Eleanor Wegener, and identified as male at art school. Identified as male! He identified as male because he was male! Oh my gosh, Wikipedia is so friggin' biased. I swear. The penis throws everyone off. I know. You may have heard of or seen the film The Danish Girl.
Tell anyone about this.
Hello there. We're going to call you Lily. I want to sketch you. Lily. We should go out tonight. Give them something different. Lily, you're exquisite.
You're different from most girls. I feel I'd need to ask your permission before I kissed you.
Exactly what happened last night?
There was a moment when I wasn't me. There was a moment when I was just Lily.
But Lily doesn't exist. We were playing a game.
Something changed.
He's lost his way. He needs a friend.
Let me help. I think Lily's thoughts. I dream her dreams. She was always there.
I need my husband. I need to hold my husband. Are you all right?
The fact is, I believe that I'm a woman.
And I believe it too.
Surgery has never been attempted before.
You're my whole life. They could kill you.
I started it once on an overseas flight, but quickly shut it off when it got to the part of the penis tuck in front of the full-length mirror, because I didn't want other passengers to see what I was watching. Plus, I was really grossed out. But there was Eddie Redmayne at the Academy Awards, nominated for Best Actor.
And one of the first people to undergo gender confirmation surgery. Eddie Redmayne, the Danish Girl.
For his portrayal of Wegener. Shouldn't that have been Best Actress? Here's a scene from the movie. Let's take a look.
You should have come.
It's a little sort of celebration.
This is not how it goes. We do these things together.
It was you and I now.
Stop playing that stupid, stupid game.
Please, Gerda. Don't you think this is a game?
You should have been there.
How could I? Look at me.
Not everything is about you. I need to see Einar.
Let me help, please.
I need my husband. Can you get him?
I can't.
I need to talk to my husband. I need to hold my husband. I need him. God, just get him. Can you at least try?
I'm sorry.
I like this scene the most out of all the clips that I found on YouTube from the film. And I'm sure the movie is very good. Movies like this are usually done very tastefully, emotionally, and are aimed to target your heart rather than your mind. But the reason I like this scene so much is because it cuts at the heart of why transgenderism is so painful to everyone involved. It's selfish. It's selfish to your loved ones and society as a whole. Just because you feel a certain way should not trump the feelings or right of others. This scene expresses the frustration and anguish that his poor wife feels. And how much sadder is it when children are involved? Case in point.
It's the last thing you think about your parent. For my dad to do it, who I've known as a man my whole life, who's been wearing jeans and jumpers and not really ever shown to me any like feminine habits. It was just really strange.
Yeah, that would be weird.
My first impressions of John as he was very respectable looking. At first I thought, no, this isn't going to work because this person is really, really straight. But I think we hugged on meeting, and the instant I hugged him, I just thought, no, this is going to be fine.
But 7 years into their relationship, John started behaving strangely. Andrea thought he might be having a midlife crisis or an affair. It did turn out to be another woman, but not in a way that Andrea could ever have imagined. Eventually, John confessed that he'd never been happy as a man, could no longer suppress his true feelings, and wanted to live as a woman.
Yes, you think, oh, you know, I've lost the man in my life, and I remember having a low point where I was stood crying with my hands in his underpant drawer and things. It's a form of grieving for the person you've lost. But at the same time, it's a hugely positive thing because, I say, you're gaining a positive person.
I feel really bad for his wife. I really, really empathize with her. She has lost her husband and gained a wife, which she did not sign up for. And in this particular case, I would recommend therapy. And if he refused, I would recommend divorce. How can you be so selfish as to do this to your family? And when she says that this is a celebration of someone being who they are, it's a celebration of the delusion he's carrying. And you've been brainwashed. The only reason she's saying all this is because she loves him so much, the father of her children. Newsweek published an article on February 11th, 2018, this year, which states urologist Miroslav Djorkovic, who specializes in gender reassignment surgery, has seen an increase in reversal surgeries among transgender women who want their male genitalia back. Fancy that. The urologist explains to The Telegraph that those who want the reversal display high levels of depression. No! And in some instances, suicidal thoughts. Why, I just can't believe that. Other researchers also report hearing about such regret. One transgender patient blamed the influence of female hormones as responsible for making him seek the surgery. And here's the man himself.
Charles Kane has what's been called trans regret, a product of his own extraordinary choices. He is one of the very few people in the world who have changed his gender from a man to a woman and back again. He lived a rather normal life as Sam, marrying and having 2 children.
Were you in love with her?
Yes, actually, I was very much so, yes.
But all of that changed during his nasty divorce in 1996.
I lost my children, and I started to just basically being curious and experimenting with my sexuality.
He says he went to a doctor and confessed that he liked dressing as a woman.
The doctor immediately said, oh, well, yes, that's normal, you are transsexual, nothing to worry about. Let's put you on some feminization hormones and you see how you get on.
No. Could it be that the pharmaceutical companies are gaining a few bucks with this whole transgender rage, having doctors prescribe hormones willy-nilly to everyone that walks into their office, claiming that they like to wear dresses or ties, respectively? No kidding.
So I thought, well, okay, if the doctor is telling me that, then it means I am transsexual.
So here you are in the transition to Samantha.
Yes, this one, that's early in the transition.
He had his penis removed and a vagina made, got breast implants, electrolysis to remove facial hair, had surgery to reduce his Adam's apple, and various cosmetic surgeries to feminize his face. All told, he says, he spent $100,000 to become Samantha Kane.
Well, I was a transsexual female. I wasn't a genuine, natural female.
And not being a natural woman led him to feel inadequate, he says. And so, at 44 years old, and after 7 years of living as Samantha, he found another doctor who would turn him back into a man for $50,000.
And 7 years later,
Yes.
at 44,
Yes.
you say, oops. With due respect, it sounds crazy.
Well, I mean, but people do make, sometimes decisions in their lives, or a crazy decision.
Kane believes it was the female hormones that his doctor gave him that helped push him into having the original surgery.
Do you think that you were born a transsexual human?
I don't think there is anybody really born transsexual human. Areas of the human brain get altered by female hormones. So really, you are altering the whole course of a person who otherwise a normal male.
Can they actually construct a penis?
Yes, they can, yes. Yeah.
Again?
Yes, again.
But can you have an erection?
But it's erected by kind of a pump device. That's the only difference.
So that's not quite as good as the original.
Well, I think the pump device is more reliable.
Pump is more reliable. The article goes on by saying that Dvorkovic expresses concern about the psychiatric evaluation and counseling that take place prior to the gender reassignment surgery. He recalls patients telling him that when they inquired about the procedure at other clinics, they received minimal information before being asked for proof that they could pay for the operation. Right. That's what I was saying earlier. So this is another reason why I hate the pharmaceutical companies and pretty much doctors in general, but I'm getting off topic now. The article states that a 2011 study found that after sex reassignment surgery, more than 300 Swedish transsexuals faced a higher risk of mortality, suicide ideation, and psychiatric issues compared to the rest of the population. The researchers concluded that our findings suggest that sex reassignment, Although alleviating gender dysphoria may not suffice as treatment for transsexualism and should inspire improved psychiatric and somatic care after sex reassignment for this patient group. Not satisfied with this article? How about the UK Guardian? Writer David Batty writes, the review of more than 100 international medical studies of post-operative transsexuals finds up to 20% regret transitioning, and no conclusive evidence was found that shows gender reassignment surgery improves the lives of transsexuals, with many people remaining severely distressed and even suicidal after the operation. Another article entitled, Regret Isn't Rare, published by the Witherspoon Institute back in July of 2016, suggests the following. In 1979, Dr. Charles Ihlenfeld warned his colleagues about unsuccessful outcomes. Based on 6 years of experience treating over 500 people with cross-gender hormones, Dr. Ihlenfeld sounded a warning on gender transition. He found that there was simply too much unhappiness among patients after changing genders, and that too many people who had sex change surgery later took their own lives. And I don't want to hear anything about bullying. In his medical opinion, 80% of those who want a sex change should not do it. And for the remaining percent, he found that the sex change would only provide temporary reprieve, not a lifelong solution. The article goes on to explain that there was a young man who went to a psychologist to express his transgender feeling. He was then put on hormone blockers, had his testicles removed, and spent the next 10 years of his life living as a female. However, once he got back into therapy, was listened to properly and advised, he realized that his transition had been a mistake, and that he was happier returning to his biological sex, male. However, now that he had gone through surgery and hormone treatment, he would never be able to sire any children, which brought him a great deal of sadness. When so many post-operative transgender individuals remain distressed or even suicidal, reports the writer, then a reasonable conclusion is that surgery is not sufficient to eliminate the depression. A staggering 41% of people who identify as transgender reported in a national survey that they had attempted suicide. That's over 25 times the rate of suicide attempts, 1.6% among the general population. Clearly, this is a group at high risk for dangerous levels of depression, and as the work of Dr. Ihlenfeld attests, sex change surgery is not the way to help keep them safe. If that's not good enough for you, the Daily Wire reports Dr. Paul McHugh, former head of psychiatry at Johns Hopkins University, finds that 70 to 80% of all children with transgender feelings grow out of it. This is important because the media has already told parents that children confused about their sex should consider whether they are transgender. Here's a clip of another actor playing another transgender role.
You got enough for 20 of us?
Yep.
You know what? You don't deserve our money, you homophobic asshole. Toodaloo.
And here he is winning an Oscar for said transgender role.
And this is for the 36 million people who have lost the battle to AIDS, and to those of you out there who have ever felt injustice because of who you are or who you love. Tonight, I stand here in front of the world with you and for you. Thank you so much and good night.
Oh, but he's a cisgender male. How dare he speak for the LGBTQXY to the third power community? And now the time has come. It was bound to happen. Eventually, we were going to get to it. And today's the day. Let's talk about this person who in just a couple of short years has really put transgenderism on the map. Or the radar. Or the gay radar. Oh, well, you understand what I mean. Caitlyn Jenner, whose real name is actually Bruce Jenner. For those of you who don't know, Bruce Jenner is an Olympic gold medalist. And back in 1976, he was apparently a really big deal.
Bruce Jenner. Tall and arrestingly handsome, he was the ideal male athlete for millions of Americans. But beneath the image lay the potential for more than just a gold medal.
The 1976 king of the decathlon. A man of unmatched strength and speed, mastering the 10 Olympic events that are the highest test of human endurance and raw masculine power. Flying over the hurdles, heaving the shot put. So fast, his competitors go down in agony, but he takes a victory lap for the USA.
Would you welcome Mr. Bruce Jenner?
Bruce Jenner set a new world decathlon record.
I spent a good part of my life getting ready for that day. I worked out a lot, ate a lot of Wheaties. Because a complete breakfast with Wheaties is good tasting and good for you.
Just a quick little side note. When I was doing research for this vlog and I typed in Bruce Jenner, Wikipedia automatically changed it to Caitlyn Jenner. It no longer shows up as Bruce Jenner on Google search, which means Google is biased and Wikipedia is definitely biased. Over the years, after a couple of failed marriages, some kids, and finally another marriage to a woman whose name was already well known before the couple made the decision to star on a reality show, there were rumors circling around the Olympic champion's estrogen levels and the fact that he might be wanting to convert from a boy to a girl. And then it happened. At the age of 66, the former athlete came out as a transgender woman. He said to Diane Sawyer during his transition that,
"For all intents and purposes, I am a woman."
No. No, you're not. You're a man for all intents and purposes. You have sperm. You have a scrotum. You have a penis. Your intents and purposes were fulfilled as a man when you sired 6 children.
So fast, his competitors go down in agony, but he takes a victory lap for the USA. And now that same person is walking down the aisle in a long white dress.
I mean, does anyone else see the idiocracy here? Well, I took advantage of being a man since I was born in a man's body. And now I'm going to take advantage of being a woman since that's what my mental condition tells me I am. And since the whole world has gone insane. Okay, so let's see if I've got this straight. When you're a transgender woman transitioning from male to female, it's not an advantage in athletics.
Documentary, Am I a Boy or Girl, will take us to Newfoundland to meet transgender athlete Savannah Burton.
They're saying that it has an advantage physically or an advantage with respect to performance, which is not the case. Trans women do not have any advantage whatsoever. That is inherently discriminatory, so I would definitely have to fight.
But what about a woman who's in a man's body? I mean, how is that fair to the other participants in a decathlon? Don't they feel really crappy now that they know they were beaten by a girl? I say take away his Olympic gold medal. He wasn't supposed to be in that decathlon. He's a woman. How is that fair? But aside from Caitlyn Jenner personally, let's see what he says about the kids.
She says she made it through this moment by thinking about the thousands and thousands of transgender people around the world living in fear from bullying, homicide. In the largest national survey of transgender adults, 40% have attempted suicide.
40% have attempted suicide. Yes, let's look at that statistic. So first of all, how does anyone know with 100% certainty that this statistic is based on bullying? Could it be that when you have a mental disorder, you consider ending your life because of said mental disorder? Do you think that, just spitting out names here, Robin Williams was being bullied? Is that why he committed suicide? No, I'm pretty sure it was because he'd been struggling with depression for many, many years, and that is considered a mental disorder. Kurt Cobain was clinically depressed and was using a lot of drugs at the time when he shot and killed himself. Was he being bullied? Probably not. The point here is that transgenderism is an illness and should be treated like one. If I think I'm a donkey, people don't go around catering to my strange obsession. In fact, here's a great question. How is bottom surgery from one sex to the other any different from this?
My ears have been pointed.
Yes, wow, remarkable.
There's an implant up here to change my brow line and an implant in here to change my profile. There's piercings here where whiskers go. My lip has been cleft and my nose has been relocated to give it a more flat kind of look. In fact, my earlobes have been elongated to give them a more cat-like appearance. There's been silicone injected in my cheeks and in my chin. The piercings where the whiskers go, my teeth.
Wow.
My claws.
I honestly feel sorry for Bruce Jenner. He's been in the limelight now for so long with this whole transgenderism thing. And because he's been the spokesperson of this community for a couple of years now, I'm sure there's even more added pressure on him to move forward, spread the word, and be that person that carries the baton. No pun intended. Well, maybe a little. But now he's chopped off his manhood. Breasts implanted. His kids refer to him as she instead of he. And instead of saying, "This is my dad," his name is Bruce, they're left to say things like, "We're proud of our dad and the steps she's taken to be herself." How effed up is that? And by the way, how is wearing a dress in public brave? Why does that earn you the Arthur Ashe for Courage Award? Why does that earn you the right to such an honorary award? I can think of some other people who certainly deserve that award a lot more than Mr. Jenner.
Rebel, rebel, put on your dress. Rebel, rebel, your face is a mess. Rebel, rebel, how could they know? Hot tramp, I love you so.
That's it for today, everybody. Please stay tuned for my final installment of Transgender Truths, which will be coming very shortly, so hang on to your hats. Thanks for watching, and make sure to click like down below here on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to this channel, The Gregarious Giggler, and make sure to check out my blog series, Why You Don't Have a Girlfriend and Why, as a Result, I Don't Have a Boyfriend, which you can find at thegregariousgiggler.blogspot.com. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day. Ciao!
Look at me, a black thespian starring in his first dramatic role.
Hello?
I'm a Danish girl. These Danishes is good, girl.